So you've just smoked a drive down the middle, you've got the perfect iron shot left into the green, great opportunity for a solid par or even a birdie, but instead you either fat it or you thin it, and it's just not what you was hoping for after such a good drive. If that's you, then this video is really going to help, so let's get into it. Welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm Danny Malcolm. Thanks so much for joining me. In today's video, I'm going to talk about how you can reduce those thin and fat shots with your irons, improve your ball striking, and just hit better shots into the green. We're going to do that by improving our low point control. So if you're a player that struggles with fat or thin shots, it's because you're struggling with controlling the low point of your swing. So as a visual, I'll use this hula hoop to demonstrate. So if you imagine the golf swing, or this being the sweet spot of your golf club, that's kind of the circle or the arc of your swing. If you can imagine a tracer going around the head of my golf club there, that is what this is going to represent. Obviously a smaller version, but the lowest point of that arc or of that circle is what I mean by low point. When it comes to hitting crisp and pure iron shots, we really want to get the low point of that circle about 3 or 4 inches ahead of the ball. So from this video from front on here, you'll see the low point of that circle. We want to move that about 3 or 4 inches, 7 to 10 centimeters ahead of the ball. What a lot of players tend to think, or a bit of a misconception, is that the low point should be right at the ball with irons, and some even get it further back here. So we really want to move that forward to get that nice ball turf contact. So in today's video, I'm going to give you a couple of drills that you can do to improve the skill element of this. Not so much technique today, but more of a skill focused session. So if you're struggling with fatting or thinning the shot, it could be because you've got the low point of this circle too far behind the ball, in which case you're going to hit the ground before, or sometimes just skimming the ground and then hitting the ball on the way back up, which is when you get the thin shot hitting the equator and the ball just goes scuttling along the ground. Not ideal. The other way you can get a thin shot is from having the low point a bit too far forward, or oftentimes this is more about controlling the depth of your arc. So you could still have your low point the correct amount ahead of the ball, but you could have your circle too high, which means you're going to catch the top of the ball regardless of how good or how far ahead you've got your low point. So that's another skill we're going to work on later in the session, later in this video as well. So first, I'm going to give you a skill-based drill that you can work on to improve and get the low point further after the ball or ahead of the ball, so that you can at least give yourself a chance of getting that ball turf contact. So a wonderful idea I like to do for this is, you can get, if you're on a mat practicing on a range with a mat, you can get a bit of strike spray or something just to mark that mat, and just pop a little spray mark about 3 or 4 inches ahead of the ball, just like so. And then you can actually just do some rehearsal swings where you set up to where the ball would normally be, but your focus is trying to hit that point 3 or 4 inches ahead or after the golf ball. So you can make some swings and just do what you need to do to make the club hit that part of the mat. And what you'll notice is you'll actually, without even thinking about it technically, you'll actually have to move and shift your weight towards the target in order to get the low point where that mark is. So it encourages some wonderful things without you thinking about it, because as I've done in other videos, that key move from the top of the swing, you really want to be, particularly with your iron, shifting your weight back towards the target, back into the ground. That gets moves your circle. Imagine that circle, it's moving that whole circle forward and giving you a chance to get the low point ahead of the ball. So that's just a wonderful drill there, and then you can keep that mark in there again, or pop another bit of spray and actually go ahead and hit some shots where you're trying to get that as your focus, and the ball's just going to get in the way as the club descends into that spot. So here we go. And we'll just take note of these numbers on the screen here. So what I've got there is an attack angle of minus 4.4. So that means my club was traveling down at the moment of impact. My low point distance was 9.2 centimeters after the golf ball, after impact, which is ideal. We're looking for about 7 to 10 centimeters. And this is for a player that's got medium to high sort of swing speeds. If you've got on the slower swing speed side of things, then you won't need that quite so much. And but there's other reasons why that is. But in general, we want to get that ball turf contact, and these are your numbers you're looking for. If I was to get my low point back behind the ball, look what happens to the numbers. So you'll see now that attack angle was plus 5.6. My low point was 13 centimeters before the golf ball. So that's showing that I'm catching that ball on the way up, as I mentioned at the start of the video. So my low point was back here. I'm catching the ball on the way up, and that's going to result in either those fat shots or the thin shots. Not really what we're looking for. So that's number one. Focus on the spot in front and how is your skill. It's a hidden skill, but it's not really a technical thought here. Can we just shift that low point forward? We'll hit one again. Just can you get that ball turf contact? That's your focus. The ball's just getting in the way. What you do, if you video yourself doing that, you'll see a tremendous change in your impact position as well. You'll often see players who are struggling at impact like this, go and do this drill a few times, and they'll have an impact position that looks more like this. So that is number one. Look at the numbers there, really exaggerated, minus 6, 14 centimeters after the ball with the low point. So that's how you can work on your low point positioning before or after the ball. The second point, which I mentioned earlier, is controlling the depth of your arc. So this is a second point, or the second part of the skill when it comes to low point. How high or low can you get that? Now again, there's lots of things technically in the swing that can, I guess, influence what that might be, but ultimately let's develop the skill of good low point control. So one I love here for this one is you can just get a couple of different size tees, or just get the wooden tees if you're on the grass, and put it in at different heights. So I'm just going to put just 4 in here. So different heights. I'm going to put a golf ball on each. Not quite that close together. And what I'm going to do here is just challenge my skill with regards to arc depth. So I go through one ball at a time. So I start on this one now because it's teed up slightly. I'm going to have to be a little bit higher with the depth of my arc. So I'll give this one a go. So caught that quite well. Then I'll go to the next ball, and again this is slightly higher still. I'm going to go to the next ball, much higher now, almost like a driver. And then the final ball, which is super high. So that's a wonderful drill there just to develop that control. If you, for example, on this one are struggling to make contact with the ball, that would be because the depth of the arc is just too low. So, and vice versa on the lower tees, if you hit too high on it, then it's too high. So that will really challenge you with regards to low point control. And without thinking technically, you'll become a better player just by working on that skill. If you can, pop some Sprite spray as always on the face. I always encourage this just to see where you're striking that as well. But just a wonderful couple of drills there to improve that low point control, improve your ball striking with the irons, and to take advantage of those smoke drives that you hit down the fairway. You can then be confident that you're going to hit it pretty much up there or close to the green, if not on the green. Give yourself a good solid par chance or even a birdie chance when you're out there playing next. So give those couple of drills a try. Let me know how you go. If you have any questions also, please let me know. Thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video.